Okay, so on the treasurer's report then, you completed the report, obviously, we're in good position.
Yep.
Ready for the future.
Yep.
Okay, can we take a motion on accepting the treasurer's report?
So moved.
On the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right. I guess it's, Robert, you're on, yep, you're up.
Okay, well, couple of things real quick. Obviously, I hate to use the term, but the fleet of vehicles that we have presently of the two Transit 150 white vans that are sitting outside that we made a decision to try and sell one of them. Well, it went out to bid. The bid was opened last Thursday, and the successful bidder was Ocean Honda in Hanover at $32,000. So we had $32,000 that we sold van number one, which had 10,000 miles and change on it for $32,000, which was purchased. It's a 2019 van, so purchased in 2018, 2019 for probably in somewhere in the range of the high 30s. So we did pretty well on that. We also, at the same time, as Paul had requested a couple of meetings back, that we do a little research on purchasing a minivan. So the fleet would consist of the big wheelchair van, which is the truck that we all see being driven around all the time. A transit van of some sort that would serve as a backup, and I'll talk about that in just a second, a minivan, and then the electric car. The electric car is strictly used for medical rides at the present time. It transports maybe one person usually at a time for medical appointments, whatever the case may be. We looked into the minivan. Well, we spoke to the folks at Ocean Honda, considering that they were going to buy the other one, and they gave us a quote for $42,117 for a Honda Odyssey van, which seems pretty much right in the, it was discounted the whole bit. It just turns out that the general manager, executive director for that dealership lives in Situate on Border Street. So he's local. I think he's trying to do the right thing by us as Elder Affairs. So
Is that a hybrid vehicle?
that is not, the Honda is not. And that's the one thing we're looking at is gas mileage. The present big van, the truck that I'm driving around, you see me driving all the time, gets somewhere in the vicinity of about 7 miles per gallon.
Oh,
How's that sound?
Even the tank does better than that.
Yeah, so it's even, so another quick little bit of news, we received word last week that the replacement van for the big van was going to be delivered this week, which they've now emailed Diane and pushed it back because they're waiting for a part from Motorola. So it's been pushed back, but it sounds like it's all built. It's ready to go, and that will be delivered sometime in the next weeks. So that replacement will come. Hopefully the mileage will be a little better, but I'm still gonna guess it's gonna be maybe 10. So it's not a great situation. So the way we envision the vehicle fleet, as I mentioned, we'll start at the bottom with the electric car, obviously transport one person. The minivan would transport somewhere between, anywhere from one, serve as a backup to the medical van ride or the medical ride, to up to, it has 2 bucket seats in the back and then a bench seat behind that. So it could transport 6 people. It has sliding doors on both sides, so access shouldn't be too difficult. They've offered to send one down here for us to go through to make sure that it fits the bill. So that would be the second vehicle. The third vehicle would be a Transit 350. Now, the difference being headroom. The big complaint with these 150s that we have parked out here is that they have about 60 inches of headroom. So as a couple of the seniors have said, what do you want me to do? Crawl in and out of this vehicle? The Transit 350 with the taller headroom would be about the same headroom as the van we're presently, the big van that we're truck that we're presently driving for most of the time. It's about 6'4" to 6'6" headroom. So there's no problem with anybody getting in, out, or anything else. And what we would do with that is we would have it retrofitted with a wheelchair lift through the back doors. So it wouldn't, you wouldn't take up the seating that you normally would with the wheelchair through the side door, like that one has, the present big one. And it would serve as a backup to the big van that we're presently getting replaced, and would give us the capability of in the future, doing more than one wheelchair ride at a time. What we're trying to do is structure the fleet, the so-called fleet, to fit all facets and to be somewhat interchangeable. So we can use whatever vehicle we want to use for the purpose that, whatever the purpose that day is. If we're taking 8 people to Market Basket, we'd probably take the 350. It's easy. If we have to do wheelchair rides, we'd have either vehicle available. We could take either or, and still, we could take, the fear is what happens if we have a medical ride that involves a wheelchair? And then we have to get people all around town at the same time. How do we get that done? We don't know that we can. So we take the big van and we send it on the wheelchair ride with one person in it. And then we're kind of out of luck for how do we get everybody else around town? So we're trying to build a platform that allows us to do all of these things pretty much at the same time. But we're also looking at this maybe lasting as much as 10 years. Because capital budget, one of the things they're going to ask me on Wednesday is, what's the replacement policy for these vehicles? Well, if we use them properly and we don't, put a ton of mileage on them and we maintain them correctly, I think 10 years is easy. So I'm going to tell them 8 to 10 years. So we're not going to be, Elder Affairs, are not going to come back to them in the next 8 to 10 years for anything, then we're in a pretty good space. What we've done is replace the 2 vehicles that we needed to replace, so 3, one through a grant, which is the big one, by selling the 2 Transit 150s, and I expect that we're going to get that same number for the second one, considering it actually has less mileage than the first one that we sold. 10-3 versus 5, 5,200 or whatever it is. That will have sold those for a total of 64,000. We'll have paid 11 for the minivan, and we're probably going to be somewhere in the book, in the process. The Transit 350, as I remember, is in the 50s, and there's $25,000 worth of retrofitting. So that'll be an $75,000 to $80,000 vehicle, but it's offset by the $32,000 that we'll get for the sale of the other vehicle. So that's kind of where we are.
Why have we not sold the second 150 yet?
Because we were worried about having something for a backup.
We might still use that.
Yeah,
Okay.
if the big van were to go down and out or have to go for service or whatever,
Yeah.
we needed something, so that's why we only sold one of them so
Mhm.
far. Once we get the minivan in line, what's the process will be, we'll sell it as soon as we know what the delivery looks like
Mhm.
for the new big van.
Right.
I shouldn't say big van, the 350.
Right.
The Transit 350. Once we know what delivery looks like for that, and that becomes a town question in regards to when do they allow us to put the order in, and when will we be able to pay for it?
Yeah.
So, if this is, so these will be a couple of questions for capital budget on how is this all going to work? And Michelle is working through all of those numbers.
What's the lag time for the ordering that 350 and having it all built?
We don't know. That's what we don't know we know that Quality Van Sales can get it done within weeks of them
really?
taking delivery of it,
Oh, okay.
but we don't know what the delivery looks like.
Yeah.
That's one of the problems, because we haven't had the ability to go to Ford and say, okay, we're trying to deal. To buy that van, we're dealing with, because it's in excess of a $50,000 purchase, we have to go through the state bid process.
Yeah.
So the Colonial Motor Group, which is the Ford dealer, we have to go through them. And we know what the price is, because it's a state bid price.
Mhm.
We just don't know what the delivery looks like. That's a completely different animal. And what they deliver is a van that's ready to be retrofitted. So it's basically looks like every other van.
Yeah.
And it would just have the high roof. So we'd be all set with that.
Well, the manufacturer provides the high roof, that is
Yes.
a retro.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's the difference between,
That's great, because that's less likely to leak if the manufacturer is doing it rather than the
Yes.
retrofit.
so you see them, as you see these vans riding around town, you'll see the Ford vans and you'll see some of them are like ours, which are slightly lower headroom. You'll see a slightly bigger one because it goes from like 5 foot to 6 foot to 6'6". So the really tall ones are the 6'6". And after conversation amongst all of us, we thought that that would serve the purpose best, especially moving forward. That having the extra headroom gives us the ability to use it without, in quotes, having to crawl in and out of it.
The one that's coming, the one that's, you said was a week or two away instead of June. What's the headroom on that?
So it's like 6'6".
It is.
Like the one
Yeah,
we
it's
have now.
like the wheelchair van that's, the big wheelchair van that's outside right now.
And how old was that big one? The one we have?
12, 10 to
Okay,
12.
so,
Yeah.
that's good for capital, realize, yep.
Yeah.
They can last.
Oh, yeah. I
Awesome.
think that's a 2012,
Thank you.
somewhere in that range.
What's the process to get them finalized, logoed? Are we gonna do that? And
so
what does
that's-
that look like?
That's the easy part.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the easy part because I've already talked to Michelle about that also, and she just said, send it over to David Hassan and David Hassan will take care of it. So
Lovely.
you guys have to decide how you want it logoed out. But to have the lettering and the numbers and the phone number and the whole bit, whatever advertisement you want to put on the back, the sides, whatever. We go to Hassan Sign Company up on 3A and just get it done.
Great.
So.
Okay.
And I'm sure that David will take good care of us, like usual, like he does for every other town department and everything else that he's done, for everybody.
So when do you go in front of capital budget?
Wednesday night, Paul, is when they have us scheduled to talk about the Transit 350 and the Honda Odyssey or the minivan, whatever. The one
So
question comes,
Is this this Wednesday? There's nothing posted.
it was supposed to be posted. I'll have to check.
I just went on the website. The last meeting that's posted is the 4th, which was this past Monday.
As soon as I get through, I will be on the horn with Michelle to make sure, because she sent me the fact that they were gonna post, but
Yeah.
that maybe slipped through the cracks.
Okay, yeah, I don't see it on the town website.
There's a law about that. They have.
So that would be a Zoom meeting, right?
I believe they're still working remote, yes.
I think Michelle's off today. I'll just shoot Tracy an email.
There you go.
Thank
There you go.
Yeah, so capital budget, Monday, March 4th is the last one they have posted on the town website.
The minivan, I assume you're gonna run some seniors in and out of it. I would be a little nervous about that.
So what we're gonna do is we're going to have them bring one down for us.
Yeah.
The dealer has said that, yes, that's not a problem. So he's going to bring it down. The nice thing about it is that one of the pieces of this Honda that we looked at is it actually has a bench seat or second row bench seat, but the middle of it is removable. So that the other two seats, they refer to them in quotes as magic seats. they can slide out of the way. So you can slide the seat to the side to allow people to get in and get to the back seat. So there's a bigger clearance. And
Does it
then you
have-
can slide it back over and somebody can come in, and no different than trying to get into the back seat of a car at that point.
Does it have double doors?
Yes, the door on both sides.
Right.
It's a Honda Odyssey, and I actually have the actual model number. It's an Odyssey EX-L is what we're looking at, and the market price is 43,160, and it's being offered to us at 42,174. So those are the discounts, the adjusted price, $1,655 discount is what it comes down to. So that's the one that we've received a quote on. And the only question becomes, that's for all intents, that's pretty much the base model. We told them that we didn't need all the bells and whistles that would come with everything else. So that's what they quoted to us. So it's still a pretty nice van. It's just a question, we had the same concerns in regards to, can we get in and out of it? That's one of the biggest pieces, but the nice piece of this is once we build out the fleet the way we are, we can tailor rides to the clientele that we're going to be picking up and dropping off. To use an example, during this winter period, I've only had 3 or 4 people that have been using the service, and on a almost regular basis, meaning Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And they would all be very capable of getting in and out of a minivan. So we wouldn't have to run one of the big vans. We get better gas mileage. We put less mileage on the big vans, but we wouldn't have any problem. Then, that being said, there are certain clientele on certain days of the week that I know that we're going to be transporting seniors that have mobility issues trying to get in and out of even the big van. So we make sure that we would be able to tailor whatever vehicle we use to the clientele we're transporting on that day. So, and we know that in a day in advance, because people have already signed up.
When that minivan's going to show up here, can we get somebody to disseminate a notice so that?
Oh,
some of us
absolutely.
can Come down here and take a look at it.
Well, we'll,
Absolutely.
maybe we'll tell Lou DeFranco, the GM, that we want to see one on a Monday at 11 o'clock.
There you go.
Yeah,
All right.
that would be great.
And therefore we can all rip through it, figure it out. We got a cast of characters next door that would come out and take a hard look at this thing and we
Sell
get
raffle
some
tickets.
approval or whatever.
There'll be a line.
Right, guys?
We sell raffle tickets for it.
I don't
So-
like the color. Can I get a different color?
Bob, does the base EXL model still come with a navigational system as we thought?
I believe so,
Oh,
yes.
that'd be great. Very
That was
helpful.
one of our questions, is like, let's push in somebody's address and it'll help the
Yeah.
drivers get
Yeah,
there.
get
Yeah, yeah.
But the minivan is how low or high from the ground, or does it have a step? I'm just curious about getting it.
That's one of the questions that we're trying to get from them is running boards.
Yeah.
Because I have in fact already looked, and there's running boards that they show original equipment running boards, and Lou was going to see what the process for that would be. Instead of going to an aftermarket like they
Yeah.
did with the 2 150s that have that big steel board sticking off the side of it. What we were looking at is, does Honda itself sell the running board and help with access? So we've addressed that with them, and they were going to get back to me at some point today. That question was posed on Friday. Because that's Liza's biggest concern is access into the minivan.
Yeah.
And making sure that it's usable
Yeah.
for our purposes.
Yeah.
We don't want to have the same situation we have today with the 2 150s.
Bob, have you looked at the Pacifica?
We did, and what we were,
Because I thought they had a lower.
so what we're trying to do is measure them all.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of research in regards to consumer ratings. And the Honda and the Toyota were rated higher than the Pacifica and the Kia. So there's really only 4 minivans out there at the present time. So one is a Kia, one is the Chrysler Pacifica, and then there's and we were interested in the Toyota because the Toyota is actually a hybrid. So we were interested in looking at that also. We need to see what the price point is. Interesting thing with the Toyota was that a lot of these cars or vehicles, when you go and you say, okay, I want a hybrid, well, there's an upcharge. They charge you more for the vehicle. The Toyota actually sits at the same price, and that's what they build. They just build a hybrid. So, and that hybrid was somewhere in the vicinity of in the 30s for a gas mileage. They only just, they don't tell you city, highway, they just give you a gas mileage. So we're trying to look at that also. The question with that is,
It's better than 7.
well, it's a lot better than 7, yeah. Yeah, when I did the mileage, the last time I filled the big van, I just about fell over, so.
Thank you.
What do you need from us?
I'm just gonna go Wednesday night. We're gonna go have a conversation about, with capital budget, hopefully Wednesday night. With a conversation, and then we'll get back to you and let you know exactly what they've said, but our hope is that.
Well, with all due respect, there needs to be a board member there.
Would you like to go, Paul?
No, anyone could go. I mean, it's just because it's the
answer is no.
the board is asking for the funds and the use of the vans. I know Bob is doing all of the work. You could say that he's part of a subcommittee, but he's not on the board.
Right.
So somebody should be there.
I can go, I can go, but it's a remote meeting, right?
To the best of my knowledge.
Yeah, if it's a remote, I can certainly do Zoom. That's not a problem. If it's
And once
posted.
they post it, we'll know better.
Okay.
And yes, I would appreciate if somebody from the board wants to come and make sure that I don't do anything I shouldn't do. So,
Well, sometimes they ask, they do ask questions about elder affairs and, how many people we driving around? Why do we need it? That's generally what they've asked in the past, that kind of stuff. I know you're familiar with it because you're a driver, so, but, it's.
Bob, if you could let me know the specifics on the meeting, okay, thank you.
so the only thing I would ask is that the board, if it's proper, takes a vote to support what the overall plan looks like. Not that this is concrete, hasn't been etched in stone, but this is what we're looking at as how we're going to provide transportation for the next 10 years.
I was just gonna ask that, could you summarize what that overall plan is? I think it's 4 vans.
4 vehicles.
Excuse me, 4 vehicles, the electric, the mini, and 2.
Well, the Transit 350, which is a van, and then the vehicle that we'd be taking delivery on, the big truck. The wheelchair, I refer to it as a truck, that we're presently driving to get 7 miles to the gallon. So that would be the 4th vehicle.
And is there a plan to get rid of that?
Yeah, I asked Michelle that question the other day. She said the moment that we get the other one on board and ready to go, that will be sold. That will be disposed of, in some way, shape or form. I don't know, what the market for those kind of things is. So the plan is to sell it once it's been replaced.
Yeah, so the current big wheelchair van will be dispositioned by the town. And then the other white van that we currently have now will be sold once we receive the 350.
That'd be correct.
Yeah, so it looks like we're receiving the new wheelchair van from the state. The town will dispose of the current wheelchair van. We're going to pick up the 350. and sell off 2 vehicles to offset the expense. And then we're gonna go in front of capital budget to apply for the minivan. That's,
We'll go in front of capital budget to apply for the minivan and for the 350.
okay, and explain to them that we're offsetting the cost by selling off 2 vans.
Correct.
Okay.
That's great.
So-
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to support our subcommittee headed up by Bob Sylvia on our transportation vehicles to move forward with adjusting the fleet to accommodate the future use for the seniors in Cohasset.
A second.
Okay, on the motion, do we have any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Wonderful. Thank you very, very much.
Well, thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much for all your work.
No
Really
problem at
appreciate it.
all.
Gonna put solar panels on it?
Yeah. Do something. Every time, I'll tell you that, but different story. All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had. Okay.
All right, now for the director's report.
Hello, everybody. There's one here for you. So when Michelle had reached out to me on Friday about the meeting on Wednesday, I did ask her, I cannot go if it was appropriate that, first of all, that if I'm not there and if Bob goes on our behalf, and she said yes. And, but having a board member obviously would be great, so
Yeah.
just want you to know, I did check with her on all of that. Okay, so, but in February, the Cohasset Historical Society generously donated tickets for their exhibit, Maybe It's Cold Outside. Get you one? Oh, put that down. Anybody else? Oh, no. Right, we go.
And you know,
So everybody had a wonderful time, you know, for me, it was a reminder, we have so many wonderful resources right here in town. You know, that to take advantage of, so we're gonna try to plan that more regularly. Last Thursday on the 7th, we had a great event, we had 85 people here for the Meet the Author program. Steve Kajurkian, excuse my pronunciation, author of Masterpiece. I know, Elaine, you were there in that, and he's one of the top investigative reporters from the Boston Globe. He shed some new light on the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist, and I popped my head in. I couldn't sit in on it, but I popped my head in. Everybody knew. I think everybody was forward in their seat, you know, really. So, and he stayed after for quite a while, signing the books. We want to have him back again too, which is great. It's okay. You enjoyed it though? Yes.
Yes, very
Yeah,
much so.
yeah, great.
It was very
And we hope to
entertaining.
have him back, so,
Yeah.
So upcoming events, Meet the Author, again, we're having a lot of authors come in, which is great. We have a connection now through the Boston Globe, so we've been getting, if you notice, we're increasing that. So Meet the Author Reflections of an Irish Grandson with, that'll be on March 12th with Vincent Quealy. That will also be free, spread the word.
What time that's happening?
That is at 1:00.
That's
Yeah, that is at 1:00.
Yeah.
So our big we have a big week coming up, so that's tomorrow, and then St. Patrick's Day luncheon is on Thursday. We'll be cooking, should I say, for 80 guests? We'll be cooking for 80. Jim will be cooking along with Dan Belongus. And then we have a surprise that we did not promote, so I'll let you all know, but you can keep it secret. We've got some Irish step dances coming in. So if, for those of you who did not sign up for the luncheon, if you want to come in and around 12:30, pop your head in, you'll be able to see them. And they're for ages from 5 to 10, which is the most precious
Oh, wow.
age. So we are thrilled. They're from Clan Lair Academy. So we're looking forward to that. On the 19th, we have Irish music with Tom Carroll. That's, you know, again, that is another free event. The Friends have generously donated some funds to us towards our program, so we're happy to offer these things for free of charge. a lot of people come in and have lunch first, so lunches have been, growing. It's a combined, have lunch and see the event, that's why we pick a 1 o'clock hour often on a lunch day. On Tuesday, March 16th, the Cohasset Open Studio Art Show will take place here, and it will feature 15 local artists displaying and selling paintings, prints, jewelry, photography, fused glass, and more.
That's
Sit-
not, that, something's
one.
wrong with those dates.
Oh, wait a minute, what did I, was it a miss, sorry, what did I put?
Tuesday's the 19th.
Okay,
That's when the Irish music,
okay, so sorry about that,
maybe it's the 26th.
let me see, I have it
The
right
art
here. Now, the art show is on Thursday,
Oh.
let me get back to you on that, let me just continue on, and then I'll find the right
Can I
date.
look on you?
Yeah, could you
Yeah.
look for me, thank you, I'm doing that.
Is that in the big room?
It is gonna be in the big room, and we're hoping that is gonna bring in a lot of people who've never been in the building before, which is great, so. We're gonna have an intergenerational cornhole event again. That's gonna be on Tuesday, April 2nd, so that the one last year was a big hit. We're gonna have pizza, and we already have about 6 students in Bathurst from Safe Harbor. We're gonna reach out to the high school. Hopefully,
Working on it.
hopefully your grandsons will come back, they were like last year.
So
It's on the 26th, that shows on the 26th.
is there any lower age limit?
No, well, we can
Anybody wants-
make it work.
Yeah.
And we-
Two. Let's say 2.
As long as they can, as long
They
as.
can walk.
Yeah.
There might be an upper age.
Did Steve come and take his boards back?
No, not yet, we can talk about that. if you need to know.
Well, I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know. how
Yeah,
many
no,
boards
no, he's
are
gonna let us use them, oh. Hello.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm just gonna put this on the table, and if you guys would like to take some pretty small pieces.
Good timing, Liz.
Yeah.
Right
now.
Thank you.
They can be frozen. I just picked them up today from the sugar. So.
Oh.
I don't think they're gonna last.
That's
till the
why they were
freezer.
Or
so
you can take
good.
them home, and she said pop them in the oven for a few minutes.
So I have a question back up, Tuesday, the 26th?
Yes, sorry about that.
So is that gonna do away with? Whoops.
No, we don't do away with classes.
I know.
Yeah, I just
My class.
yeah,
So,
no.
but it's gonna be in the big room?
It is, but Christine's class will still take place. Okay, it's gonna, the room will be available at 12 o'clock.
Okay.
All right, so. I know, that is a great class.
Yeah.
That is a great class, and we, at any rate, yeah, we planned around it. So, back to the intergenerational coal, last year was a big hit. So we're gonna have pizza, we'll be open late that night, from 5:30 to 7. So spread the word, we just ask that you sign up for it, so we know we're gonna have pizza and prizes, so I can plan for it.
If you're doing that from 5 to 7 on a Tuesday, what's going to happen to the selectmen's meeting?
We did not see one that night.
Okay.
On the
Just
calendar.
make sure.
Yeah, Richie keeps a master calendar, and we double check that, but thank you. So I submitted the formula grant report to the Executive Office of Elder Affairs for FY 2023 and the annual town report for Cohasset Elder Affairs to Town Hall, so that's been completed. The budget for FY 2025 has been submitted and is being reviewed. It's a level funded budget. Okay, so, and I know I'll be meeting with Elaine, we're gonna have a little meeting after here, just to go over some things you were in Florida when that took place, so. You had, Jim, you had mentioned something about my active center last time
Yes.
about, we went on there.
Yes.
There are some classes that we blocked out from being able to log on from there, such as the garden, reflexology, manicures. Reflexology, manicures, you need an appointment, ask a lawyer, so you need to call. The flower gardening, we'd like you to call too, because we limited it that you can't sign up to the first of the month because too many people being excluded. So I'm thinking, is that what you were seeing, how somewhere?
My objections to the My Active Center online sign up is the cumbersomeness of the process. there are too many steps to go through to sign up for a class on that. I've had a number of people complain to me about the fact that they would try it and then they couldn't understand why things hadn't already happened. Like 3 different times you have to go click on something and then do something else and then do something else and then go to your credit card and then it seems excessively problematic. And for people who aren't tech friendly, it just makes it unnecessarily problematic.
I'll take a look at that again. I know what the complaints I got were about the certain events you couldn't sign up for, but
Well,
there's a
that's
reason.
another issue.
There's a reason for that. We have to have control of some things,
Mhm.
especially for the things that require appointments.
No, I get that.
Yeah, so I'll go back again and take a look at it, just start, signing up for some things and seeing the process.
But you need to look at it from the point of view of somebody who's not particularly adept at using a computer.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, thank you. We had a suggestion box to post on the front door, when real estate taxes are due, which is a good idea. We have done that in the past.
Yeah.
We got away from it, so I'm gonna put in a reminder for Richie. It's a good reminder. So before I go on to CEA by the numbers, does anybody have any questions about any of that?
Well, before you do that, we had a suggestion a couple of months ago about putting a mailbox in here. What's the outcome of that? I know you say anybody who drops off mail will be picked up anyway, but do
Yeah,
people know that?
They do, and, we had reached out to, I think Nancy and Richie had reached out to the post office. It's hard getting a mailbox or a mailbox change if you've ever tried to change one at your home, from your driveway to the end. It's not an easy process. So as of right now, the mail typically comes every day. He comes here if he has mail for us, which I've been watching, he's been every day, and we do have an outgoing box. But no, nothing has moved forward on that. And I can,
We're
when
talking about like a public, like.
postal,
blue
yeah.
postal-
I was the
Yeah.
one who made the suggestion. I
Yeah.
just think, I personally feel like the post office is a dangerous place for seniors to go. If you want to mail something, if you don't have to go into the building, I go there to put stuff in the mailbox. And the parking lot is dangerous. And I just think it would be much easier for seniors if we had one here that we could drop our mail.
I agree with it.
And I mean, I live in Beechwood, we don't have a mailbox in Beechwood, so you have to go to, the one by Shaw's, that's another dangerous place.
Oh,
Really,
that-
there's no
that-
mailbox all the way down? Pete?
No,
No.
no, that's it,
People
Shaw's,
over there.
yeah. It's,
Um,
right, it's really an issue to me, and I look at the fact that we have a public mailbox at 60 Elm Street for 60 tenants, and there's so many more people that come through here. I don't want them to take it away from Elm Street, but I think that we ought to have one.
we have a drop-off box at the front desk, and for people who have trouble getting out, they often go to town hall, you can drive right up.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's what
true.
a lot of our elders use, but, I'll follow up
They
again
only
with
pick up once
Nancy.
a day there at night.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a problem too, how
That is a
often they pick up.
Oh, I thought there
when
was
they
a
pick up.
5 o'clock.
No,
pickup
5
at the
o'clock
town
at the
hall.
town hall.
That's
it,
at
once a day.
Shaw's.
5 at Shaw's, yeah, so.
I think we'd have to talk to this. Are you talking about in the building, just having like
No, I'm
something,
talking about
an
outside.
official, so we
One of
have to
those
talk to the
blue
swim
official
center.
Mailboxes
Yeah,
in the
there's-
parking lot,
We'd have to talk to the swim center as well, if we're gonna put something
true.
in their parking lot. So,
And we
But
do
yeah.
have something inside where people can
Yeah.
drop off their
It's a
mail.
nice-
But there's
yeah.
no security around that.
Yeah, I think
That's
that's, and I think that's why right now, the post office is really not liking to put blue boxes out.
No,
It's
they're
got too
not,
much-
they're not.
Well, even right at the post office,
They
they've
won't.
changed that, it's
Oh,
not
yeah,
a pull down
yeah.
thing, it was a little tiny
Yeah.
slot.
No one
Yeah.
drives through with the big
Yeah.
slot, you have to get out of the car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And they'll probably, on top of it all, they'll probably be very negative to this because it's empty. All night, it's empty.
They were negative,
Mm,
I know Nancy had reached out, we did not get, I know personally, I tried to change it, my mailbox in my house is on my garage, I wanted to bring it to the end of the driveway, so. Couldn't change it,
Yeah.
it's,
But I do know they're very, very particular now with the blue boxes because
but we could definitely revisit it again, maybe. there'll be a difference.
well, maybe we could have a mailbox of our own in the building that just says outgoing mail, so people could see, you know, they wouldn't have to ask, can I give you something to mail? Maybe somebody
Right.
that just saw a box that said outgoing mail, they could just drop their stuff right in there, and then maybe
But
once a
then,
day
then
somebody.
we're kind of responsible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
a
And that's a
responsibility.
tricky thing.
I was
But
just
you're
saying-
accepting their mail now, aren't you?
Well, we could, if, we do have outgoing for people, you know.
So
it is
you are
out there.
taking responsibility for their,
We're not
Just a
getting
little
it,
tray.
we're not, it's a little tray, we're not getting it in the masses, and what happens is often the mailman will come in, he comes in and out, we won't know
oh,
when
you
he's
don't even
here.
know you've been.
Yeah, so, but
yeah.
that is another something to think about too, we
Yeah.
could get it and let him know, you
Yeah.
know, maybe, and then maybe he could have a key.
Yeah, maybe you could.
I know there's so much legal stuff around
Yeah.
there and everything,
Yeah.
but we'll definitely revisit it again, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I know I would like it. I like putting all my personal mail in there. I do sometimes if I can't get out. I often just, after I leave work, drive right up to town hall, roll down my window and pop it in there. That, I can. Sometimes I have to open the door.
I was
and
trying
get
to think,
out.
so up at Avalon, maybe they do like 100 Pond Street, I don't know, but they have the mailbox
Yeah.
kiosks. They have a slot there for the US mail. There's no time that they're gonna pick, you know, it's the mailman who delivers the mail, he takes that from there. I wonder,
I just don't trust throwing it and stuff like that.
yeah,
I'll only go to the post office.
Yeah.
'cause
still, yeah.
I don't trust the other box.
Anything else before?
Do we
I
have
go?
any news about our director, Nancy? How's she doing?
I was gonna actually let Megan speak to that.
Sure.
All right,
Thank
let's
you.
go through the numbers.
Oh, okay, all right,
first.
okay. So we provided services, activities and outreach to 360 individuals, resulting in 1,193 repeat visits. Our website received 191 individual visits in February. Transportation for February, 23 riders took a total of 187 rides. 124 of those were miscellaneous shopping, etc. 63 of those were medical rides. And you would ask for this stat, and
Yeah.
41 were in the electric car used by 14 riders. So that is an increase from the month before.
How is all of this as part of, you know, growth? Are these numbers going up?
Yeah, they all went up from last
Okay.
month. You know, they don't go up every month. Sometimes it's slower, but they were up from the month before, especially the people visiting for activities and services and outreach. So, any other questions?
Oh, not about this.
All right,
Okay.
then, can we take a motion on the director's report now?
Move to accept.
Second,
Any discussion on the motion, on the motion, on the motion? All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
And I can answer the question about Nancy.
Yes.
So I have been in touch with Nancy. She needs to extend her leave. So she will be out for another 10 weeks. And then we'll be checking in again to see where she is. She will be working from home over the next couple of weeks, just for a couple hours here and there. I think just to catch up on things and provide any ongoing guidance as needed. And so that'll be over the next 3 weeks or so, just a couple hours here and there. And then she'll be off again for another 8 to 10 weeks after that. So she's in contact with us, and we keep her in our thoughts.
Looks like 10 weeks.
Another 10 weeks, and then there'll be another kind of official check-in, and we'll see where we are at that point.
How does that affect you?
I've been working very hard.
No, I mean, but this is much more than you bargained for. You bargained
Yeah, you
bargained
know,
for
my-
4 weeks. 3 months
You know,
ago.
but I have to say, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, the team has been great. We're all just trying to keep things going, you know, and keep morale up, and it has been. I'm learning a lot, you know, a lot of these things, you know, the formula grant, the town of things I had never done before. You know, my job is still my job, you know, outreach and trying to find people emergency housing and supplemental food resources and dealing with all the other, the mental health piece. So, it's going okay. You know, I am working a little more, than I have been, but, looking at it as a learning experience, and we're just, you know, we're doing it for Nancy, you know, just try to keep things going for her, so.
Well, the double pay doesn't hurt.
Well, that is not.
No, no, no.
Well, HR's
No.
here. you-
I think- and again, I repeat this up, the team has been incredible, and I couldn't be doing this without them. Everybody has really,
And I've not heard anyone say, you know, oh, things aren't going as well, or I can't. I mean, it's rather remarkable how smoothly this is.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
it's
pretty
been
much.
flawless,
Transition,
yeah.
and
Seamless.
you've really done an outstanding
Very good
job.
job.
Thank you,
Yes,
thank you.
excellent.
But again,
Thank
it's
you.
more than you originally thought. so
Oh,
just
oh,
wanna make
oh,
sure you're
absolutely.
okay.
Yeah, yes, because
Okay.
you know, Nancy's presence is, you know, her not here, obviously, it's. So, but we're getting by. So, thank you for asking.
Good. Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you for saying that.
Okay, I guess now we're into our general discussion. Just before that, I want to comment. Megan, your library, I've been working over there, some people know, doing my Valor Act hours. It's extremely impressive. I do an awful lot of reading, but I do it on a Nook or a Kindle. And my experience at the library has been fantastic.
Oh, I'm so glad.
I'm so impressed with that program that you have over there where you get the bestsellers for a short amount of time. Again, I'm just totally, I don't use the library, and now I'm using it.
I'm
And
so
some,
glad.
and I've been to a couple of libraries while I was in Florida, and they're nowhere near, they're much larger,
Mhm.
but they're nowhere near as accommodating as your library is.
Oh, I'm
So
glad to hear that.
you
Thank
did
you.
an excellent job.
Thank you,
Hopefully
thank
it
you.
continues.
So are you still working at the library in addition to the HR?
No.
So I'm not. So Bronwyn is now the library director, who is my assistant.
Ah.
And she's fantastic too. So I'm sure she'll keep it going and make it even better.
I just wanted to mention that. Totally impressed.
And
Maybe I'm easily impressed. I don't know, but.
well, and Beth is on our friends group, so she helps with all of our fundraising and programs and things too. So she helps us achieve excellence.
Thank you. I do want to continue our conversation about the pergola. Paul, were you able to do anything with the CPC application? Is he gone? Oh, there you
There
go.
it is.
Oh, there we go. Yep. I did. I filled it out. I emailed it off. They now have a multi-step process for CPC. They just introduced a couple of weeks ago. So I've got the first process in. I think they're meeting next week, so we'll find out if we can get on the agenda for next week.
Now, you're familiar with this and I'm not. What should we be doing? Anything or just, you make the application, you go.
You make the application, yeah. So, in the past, you would just go in front of them and kind of ask for different things. You can email them ahead of time. And then they would just kind of mull it around during their meetings, but now they want to, they put a process in place now where it's a 6-step process. And so each process can kind of get vetted a little bit better, so they're not spending a whole night talking about something that doesn't qualify. So now they have these pre-qualification applications that you submit, and they'll get back to us saying, okay, this fits what we do. We'll put you on the agenda for the next meeting, and then we'll go in front of them and explain what we're doing.
Well, the next meeting is next week. Have you gone through that step? To be.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear back from them. So hopefully, by today or tomorrow.
Be invited at that point. You'd be invited to the meeting?
Correct.
Okay. Again, is there anything we need to do? Are you able to? go
Yeah,
along?
not at this point. We're just waiting, on their response.
Okay. And then based on, we don't get any really indication from them until after it's voted on in June, correct?
Yeah, so the process will be, they invite us to, one of their meetings and we all attend and explain to them what we want to do. And if they approve the project, Then it goes on the warrant, which gets voted on June 6th,
First
and
week.
then funding could begin July 1.
Now, we have our.
I'm sorry, June 3rd. June 3rd is the annual town meeting.
But we had discussed in the past using the remainder of the state grant, the 25,000, which is now down to, how much did we spend for the?
It
It was
was,
about 1,400 last month. I don't know what you
Yeah.
spent this month.
Okay. So the majority of that 25,000, we had discussed about going ahead with the footings while it was early, but then I think you, Paul, you suggested we wait until we hear from CPC to see whether it's a boondoggle or not.
Yeah, if it gets approved by if it gets approved by CPC, then it goes on the warrant for the spending approval. So I haven't seen anyone say no to their warrant articles in the past, so but
It's pretty much a done deal if they accept it.
if they accept it.
I would agree.
But don't we have to expend the grant
Yeah.
before June 30th?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think that would be a problem to wait.
Why would it be a problem?
Well,
Well,
because the grant
Before-
requires it be expended by June 30th.
Yeah, June 30th, but if they came back and said, yes. We'll put it on the warrant, that, once it goes on the warrant, they don't usually reject what goes on.
no, but
Yeah, not that
between
far.
now and then,
Yeah.
between
Well,
now,
if it,
do anything about the footings, which we had proposed. But it seemed like crazy to go ahead and do that unless we.
Well, they don't have to be
approve the funding.
finished, do they? They
No, they're
just-
not to be finished, but we thought we'd spend the
We're gonna
rest of
spend
the
You know what I
25
paid for
grand.
it before they
Yeah.
do it.
Right.
That's not good.
Or at least they have to be encumbered, for sure. But I
We
would
have to at
think
least
we
have a
would know by,
contract. Yeah,
I would say, I would guess mid-April, probably they'd make a decision.
so Diane, I sent you an email looking for the write-up on that, and I can also call you about the grant to go over that.
I responded to your email. But the write-up, did you receive it the same day? It was on a Sunday?
It never came through. I had it on my work email, so I didn't see it come through on the work email, so.
Okay, I'll go, yeah, I responded to, I just happened to be on, when you
Okay.
emailed on the weekend,
Okay.
I'm getting right back, so I'll resend that narrative. Okay,
Okay, great. And then I can check with you on I can review the grants piece of it. I know that when I talked to Michelle a while ago on this, that we could encumber it. So we could just get some clarification.
The grant itself does say that it will be for amounts submitted via invoices up to a maximum of 25,000.
Okay,
So I think we should, that's pretty clear. We would have to, encumbered. What do you mean by encumbered? We need invoices, I think. Otherwise we'll have to.
okay. So we can address that.
Well, I mean,
So,
we really can't. I think it's unwise for us to spend any of the 25,000 on the footings until we know we're going ahead with this. Having said that, what do we do with the 25,000?
Exactly.
What else can we build? Or I don't know what the impact is. I mean, I've worked for government for many years. And the last thing you want to do is give back any money you didn't spend, because you won't get it the next time. So we're sort of in between a rock and a hard place here. Are we gonna anticipate that we can do this and go ahead and use the 25 grand for the footings? I think if we did that, we would have invoices before the end of June for the footing. And if it's not, if we go no further with it, we end up spending the 25 grand on footings we'll never use.
Right.
But I don't.
So we
know.
have until June 30th. We have until June 30th to submit invoices, right?
Yes.
But invoices typically don't get submitted
Till
without
after
having
work starts.
service
Yeah.
completed. The vendor won't send an invoice without having render the
which
service.
is, that's what we want.
Wouldn't want them to.
That's right.
Right.
And do we need to go for 3 bids, you know, it's standard state stuff.
I know. I think if we're gonna spend it.
But running out of time.
I thought we had decided to go ahead with the footings one way or another.
No,
And then we were
no,
gonna-
we decided to go ahead with the pergola, go ahead with the CPC.
Yeah, but I thought we
application.
said we might have to do it in stages.
I agree with you.
Yes,
I
that's
thought
what
we-
my-
I thought we thought this was the perfect use to get that going, and it was gonna be, it could sit there even if we couldn't do it till next year, but it was done.
Okay,
That was
And then I
nice.
thought we were going to CPC to see if we could get some other stuff to then really go
yeah,
forward.
it's 70
Right.
grand we need. 25 is this.
That's the way I thought we talked about it, but that's why I'm just,
So-
so what are we
that's-
asking CPC for?
35 grand, right?
No, it's actually more.
We're asking for more than 35,
Oh, no, 45,
45.
45, because it's 70,000, we have a $25,000 grant, it's 45.
So I thought the 25 was, we were gonna do the footings and get some groundwork done.
Yeah, that's what I thought. too.
Yeah.
And they can sit there, we say, because it's not gonna disturb anything, and then they're done, and then we go to phase 2.
Well, with that, and I think that's a reasonable idea. What do we need to do to get that started? Do we need to get 3 bids? Do we need the architectural drawings?
Well, they've already
Footings.
done, didn't they
Well,
already
not for
do
the
all that
footings.
engineering, like, they know that they had to do better footings, and I thought that
Yeah,
when.
Bob gave us.
Yeah.
Was it Glenn?
Yeah, it was Glenn.
Glenn.
Glenn,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, Glenn gave it to us.
Glenn,
Yeah.
he's already on it, the fact that what we needed for footings and going with the better quality structure.
Doesn't it make sense for somebody on the board to be heavily involved?
Yeah.
Navigate this to get this, I mean, we can't rely on Glenn,
No,
I don't think, just like Paul said, Bob,
Yeah.
you know, should be a board member, I think, steering this project. I mean, we could give up the 25 and they'd pay us for the 1,400 we've spent so far, that's how I read it, you know.
That's what we
other
have
people
to,
should
or
read it.
find another way to use the 25.
Well, I think the grant says a pergola
Outdoor.
within it,
No, it said
Yeah.
outdoor,
structure,
yeah. So,
trying to find that, yeah.
I mean, I think you could screen in the front porch and that would be an outdoor structure.
So my
Yeah,
understanding is
pursued.
that, so that it was voted, we would do the footings, that Glenn was working on that. We were gonna go to CPC for some extra funds, and if for some reason it was declined, please correct me if I'm wrong, we were gonna look at other funding sources. But the pergola's a go.
That's my
planning-
understanding.
Yeah, the plantings go and the footings do have to be in, so I was gonna, I'm gonna see Glenn tomorrow about something else. I was gonna ask him, you know, what his timeline was on the footings.
Okay. And
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
was one that
so-
suggested that it would cost less than the 25 grand to do the footings. So we wouldn't be reaching into any other bucket.
And I'll reach out to procurement just to make sure, because I know if the project's over 50,000, I think it's 50,000, you need to go to a formal bid, but it's under 50, I think
Yeah.
50,000 is the magic number, but I'm gonna have to check. If it's under that, then you have to get 3 quotes, so I'll just make sure that we're,
Well, this is 70,000.
yeah.
No,
Well,
but
she
we
did
don't
that
have
with
the
the
footings.
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 Yeah.
Just at
Just the
25,000.
footings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
So-
and I think he may have gotten the quotes
He
way
did
back,
that,
way
yes.
back,
I think he
and,
did.
so
Okay.
it's just a matter of seeing when it's gonna get started,
think you did.
for
Okay.
that, and we could get, you know, I know for programming, we get invoices sometimes ahead of time if people need payment that day. I mean, I don't think
I
it
don't,
has
I
to
don't want to
be,
get into that.
I mean, just, are you, I'm just saying, if we needed
Sometimes
to
they
submit
need
it,
to pay for when you order materials.
yeah, so I.
Right,
But,
and we did talk about that too.
Yes.
The 25 could cover
Mhm.
materials.
materials.
Well, we can't, I thought, are we covering materials and footings?
Up to 25.
But
yeah,
they,
that's
I
but
thought
they
it was
need
materials
materials
and
and
the
footings.
and it
Material.
Right.
Yeah, it did fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It fit unusually
Not all.
close.
Yeah.
It was amazing how it just matched a
There's
certain
method
number,
to the madness.
but, okay, well, then I think that's what we need to do. We'll rely on Paul to get us moving with CPC. And we'll put the footings in, and if CPC says no, we'll just have footings.
For now, we'll see where we go from there.
Okay,
Okay, so board,
well, we're relying on Diane to talk to Glenn to see if we're ready to go for the footings, but that's what we want to do.
When does the CPC make a decision?
Sounds like late April.
April?
They do, in April, right?
Well, if he's, if he, I don't know, I'm not on CPC anymore, but definitely, you know, well before the
Well before
warrant is
the-
printed.
Yeah.
So. And if he's going in now, they could well make a decision soon. Say, okay, we'll go with this. But they might say, we're gonna wait.
Megan, in your prior job, your pergola, the library pergola, now you're depending on CPC as well, right? And do you have in your plan when you expect to know whether you're moving forward or not? It's up in the air.
Yeah,
Okay.
So did you submit your application already?
yeah, Bronwyn did, yes. the
And
library
what's
director.
your number?
So,
if I may
so
ask?
we have, we're not just doing a pergola, we're doing a whole slew of other things. So
Yes.
we're going in, I think it's 70, asking for 75.
But you've already gone through all the motions.
Yes,
Okay.
I think. As
And
far
you
as
don't
I
have
know.
a schedule on when you'll think you're gonna be able to move forward.
We're
You're in
really
the same boat
hoping,
as we are.
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
we're really hoping that we can start in the fall, but our project is like a $600,000 project, so it's,
And you're only asking for 75.
well, we already asked for
They already got
125 last year.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm impressed with that library. Anything you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to close on this, I don't think we need to take a vote, but we are gonna
No,
work with
we are-
Glenn to see where we go next.
Yeah, I'll see him tomorrow. I'll
Okay.
ask if he has a timeline on when the footings will be in there.
And if we need to do anything to get that to happen,
Okay.
you know, I don't want them waiting on us, installing everything even further. Okay, well, you wanted to bring up something that I stopped you while we were doing the director's report?
Yeah,
You had-
I wanted to know how everything went with the voting and the use of the center. A lot of people were very distressed. Very distressed, and
Voters?
yeah, well,
No,
no, seniors.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It seems that we are making precedents here that are going to get in our way and we'll trip over our own feet if it continues. Every year and a half, we are being encumbered by this. I brought this is the exact restriction. The grantor hereby reserves to the grantor a restriction, the restriction on the granted premises. This building, this property, which may include without limitation, providing health and educational programs for older adults and families, provide access for the town nurse, Cohasset veterans, outreach assistance for seniors, providing social opportunities, including and without limitation, meals and such other public and general municipal services that do not material conflict with the senior use provision. The emergency that the town is referred to wasn't an emergency, and that's, see, that we've known about the elections. We know about the Thursday or that Thanksgiving week brouhaha that comes every year, and they just sort of sign up for it, and, well, what can we do? Well, before 7 years ago, all these things were done. They were done in the town. How did we do them then without this building? They were done. And I just feel that after the last time the town had their hands slapped about this, and the Attorney General said, go away. I mean, it was dismissed with prejudice. And just said, go away, because this is awful. I really am not a troublemaker, but if we have to preserve this space
and not have it infringed upon, we have to take this seriously.
Well, unfortunately, you weren't here for the last meeting where this was discussed extensively. What we did was, and thanks to Eleanor, put together a letter to the town saying, you know, this is our spot, you know, this is not a clubhouse for town hall activities. My intention was to have that sent to Glenn, because the issue is that emergency management has set this building aside for alternatives. If there was some reason that they made, like in this case, City Hall, Town Hall isn't available for voting, this was considered the alternative site. So my intention in the letter was to get Glenn to take us off of that, so that emergency management would use someplace else for their alternative. It didn't work out that way. The letter went to Chris Senior, and Chris's response was tough.
Oh, I got,
Yeah.
I got a copy of
It was
this.
tough.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to get us, I
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to get us taken off the list entirely.
Right.
And he said, no, we're more than happy to continue with you on the list. So we're stuck.
No, we're not
According to-
stuck.
No,
We're
we're
not
stuck according to his answer to our letter.
So,
But-
hey, Rich,
Yeah.
you need to introduce that letter to the board and have it part of the meeting minutes, and a copy of the letter that goes with the meeting minutes when we submit them.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Eleanor's letter and Chris Senior's letter.
yeah.
because he never answered the letter. He went all around it, but he
Yeah.
never answered.
But he
Yeah,
didn't,
but
he
he
didn't do what I
emergency.
wanted. What I wanted to do was get us off the
Wait.
list. And it certainly never turned out.
All right, well, interesting enough, and neither one of you gals have mentioned this, but there's a meeting tomorrow morning at 8:30 by the emergency, and I'm assuming they're gonna come back again. Now they want something else.
And since the request to remove us from the malign chain of the emergency response was never actually
true.
made to my knowledge,
it wasn't.
why don't we make that
He didn't,
request?
he didn't,
It didn't go that way. That's the way I
No.
wanted it.
But let's make it.
Chris Senior.
so we
Should
have
we
to
make
make it.
Well, no, Chris Senior copied him on his answer. Copied Glenn on the answer.
No, Glenn got it anyways. It went to Glenn.
It did. He
Yeah, I
was
know
on
it
the
did.
distribution.
Yeah, but interesting enough, it did not go to the selectmen, which it was supposed to. And I purposely asked the selectmen if they saw it and got it, and they didn't, and it was addressed to them. Yeah.
Well, my husband suggests, having been a selectman, that when we want to contact the selectman, we do it individually. We don't do it as a letter to Chris with the
Yeah.
CCs, because
Well, we didn't do a CC, we directly sent it
went to each of them?
to each of them. I believe it went to each of them. I
I
may be
don't know.
wrong, I mean,
Chris
it
Glenn.
I don't think.
may have gone, it may have, I would never say that, because it may very much have just gone. to
Well,
the-
anyway, if we didn't do it, we should do it.
Yeah, okay.
And we are also coming up to the time. Oh. Well, I guess it's not really the place for it here. The the termination of the social service leagues. Lease, it's no lease for the room upstairs, is coming to an end. And I'm wondering, the social service, league, I'm on that board too, I wear two hats.
Okay.
Have to watch out that doesn't happen too. So I'm just saying that this looks like.
Yeah.
It's, and the other fact is, this parking lot is not a town parking lot. It's the swim clubs, which is independent. So I was very upset when I saw that the place was gonna close down, and it closes down not out of genuine necessity, but because it doesn't fit the town hall schedule, rather than vice versa. By that I mean, they don't want to pay overtime.
Right,
They just don't. And we had Chris here, was it in the fall? Was it before I left? He came and, he understood. He never wanted meals interrupted and all this kind of stuff. Oh, he didn't realize it. Well, it's time people realized that this was a serious gift for the seniors in town. And that was the monies that we had allocated for. And that's our charge too, that it has to be for senior activities. So I was hopping mad about it. I don't know if you can tell that. And, I know a lot of other people were. I just think we have to be aware. And the exclusion is very, very clear in what I just read.
Right. It is very good.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
There was a lot of voices that heard, a lot of, a lot of pushback. I kept, about the overtime, I pushed on that, why can't you sit up here? And then it was a very difficult time. I just want to touch base, Diana, you mentioned, interesting enough, why Megan, and I have not mentioned the meeting tomorrow. Rich is coming to that meeting. You were on the email, so I thought that was
Wait a
right.
minute, do you know that?
No,
I think he was on
So
the
I'm
email.
on that committee. I wasn't invited.
No, he's on the email about to look at the thing tomorrow, so I thought the board was represented.
I
We
never
didn't
heard
get
of it.
anything.
Yeah.
Look at what?
You're in the email.
You're in the email
For what?
Purposely.
for
So
the
they're
tomorrow, so I thought I
discussing
covered my.
voting.
What's happening tomorrow?
I'll resend you
You know,
the
we,
email.
Okay.
we gotta start being perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Okay? This man is not honest. He goes around
Yeah.
things. He's excellent at it. We
Well,
have
that's
to
it. I mean, I
stop
said
this.
I wanted this off the
Yeah.
list.
That's,
He said,
ex-
I
that's
think we need
exactly
to-
why I brought this up. It's
I
because-
need to stop this for a second because I just want to make clear that Diane works for Chris.
Right.
That is her direct report. So, I hear what you're saying and I understand and, but Diane is not in charge of making sure that this happens or doesn't happen. And so while she runs the operations of this building, I just want to make it very clear that it is not Diane that is deciding if there's voting here or not, or whether she
Oh, I
can
think
stop it
that's
or
the-
not.
It's not true.
Yeah,
It's
no.
not true.
That's not her.
That's why we wrote the letter.
No,
But,
that's
but I just want to make sure that it's not, on her
Unhappily,
shoulders.
something scheduled like tomorrow morning at 8:30, we should be notified.
What
That's.
what is scheduled for 8:30?
So there is a meeting tomorrow regarding the next voting sessions through
I
the
thought it was
entire
decided
year.
that we're
I thought
going
it
to
was
the
already at the
schools.
school.
So the school's invited, Wilcott Commons is invited, the town clerk is invited, community service is invited, recreation's invited, it's a
Are they all
big
like me
meeting.
that have never heard of this until
Yes,
just
it's
now?
a big meeting,
But
yeah,
I haven't heard of it.
there was an.
And apparently no one is.
Yeah, it was last weekend, and my thought was, my hope was maybe it was for me just to come in and talk about,
We don't know.
that
if
we
it's
don't know,
about
we don't know,
What
so
went well
I
here,
didn't.
if there's,
Well, I
if
do.
it's a debrief, or.
Yeah, I
if
don't-
it's a-
yeah.
The school department's put the clamps on it. The school department has said, you need to answer tomorrow.
Oh.
What are they
What
gonna
you're
ask
doing.
about voting?
Oh, they need an answer tomorrow? Okay.
boy.
All right.
Because they have to have it before their March meeting.
It's just about
Okay.
the voting, three more voting.
So I
Use-
thought it was already
use
said
up the
that
building.
that was
Yeah,
the
that's what they
a
said.
one-off, and
Yeah.
from here on
Yeah.
out, it was gonna be at the school.
Well, after June 1st, and I'll say this to you because you go back to him, I know you do, so.
Mhm.
I will tell you right now, as of June 1st, nobody uses this building parking lot.
Because it belongs to the swim. That's,
Oh,
The
yeah.
swim center opens June 1st.
Okay.
And we take priority,
Oh,
and
these
and I'm
people
not a
can
very
send
nice
it out.
person. I'll
and then he said,
run a chain.
Doesn't
of
worry
laws.
me.
She's
Yeah,
got a
that's fine.
shotgun. She's
Yeah.
gonna be
Send
on
that out
the
Fri-
driveway.
Friday,
Get
no,
the
plus
messages.
Thursday, yes, so.
Like,
See,
I
the
got
chief's coming, yeah, so you're on there, and, so I thought the board,
oh,
was right.
it's,
You
I
can't
don't,
think.
I don't use that email.
so I don't know what,
That's
I
not-
don't, so he, he was invited, I don't even know what the meeting's about, and,
And the
And where
meeting's
is
here?
that taking?
It's
place?
here.
It's here, yep.
It's here.
Where is
So-
it gonna be here?
Here,
Where?
here.
In this
In this
room?
room?
In this room.
All those people
Lot
are
of
gonna
people.
fit in this room?
I didn't do the exact count, but, we have done double chairs, other than canceling a program.
No, good.
This is
No,
what
I'm
it
This is
is.
very-
what this is what I got.
I'm very good.
I don't wanna go there.
I wanna go to yoga.
You have
You know.
dinner in the parking lot on Wednesday.
Well, I'm glad I came to this meeting.
Yeah,
Well, I just think it's a shame that we've reached this point.
Yeah.
The Social Service League was kind enough and worked hard enough to create this building, and you would have no idea how hard we worked and what we did to create this building. And the piece that Tana read to you, that wasn't the first time, this is the second time we had to take it to court. And we need to withhold it, we've got to, and I know you're a town employee, So the board's been set up to take care of things. We are not town employees.
That's right.
And
So
so
I think, so my advice to
we
you
have to,
is to kind of stop talking to us about this and do what you need to do on your side, whether that's go involved or whatever it is. But we hear you and we're listening and we care, but we can't do much to, I mean,
know
we
that.
can, we
But
can
she's
yell
our
and scream
voice
too.
rather than having
you're
12
the
of us.
voice.
And I've been very vocal in
Yes.
terms of,
Yes.
when this was all going down, I said, oh, I was telling, this is going, I'm going back reporting here, I'm going back reporting here. I was in the middle and I'm giving everybody the information more than you all know. I've made some friends at town hall. I pushed, haven't I?
Yes.
I
you've
really,
done a
I
great
job.
job.
So,
Yeah.
but,
Nobody doubts that.
so for today, when you say, you look, interesting enough, like there's not something that's hidden. I thought Rich was joining us.
Right, there's no
tomorrow.
conspiracy.
I am
There's
now.
no conspiracy, and that's where I kind of feel like something, like I'm not trying, just trying to get,
No.
you know, I'm feeling a little, I feeling I'm, I feeling I'm on the hot seat, and I know it, and I know this, I'm doing everything I can, so if any help you could give,
Yep.
and I,
No, I appreciate
know,
that. And I'm sorry if you feel that way because we don't feel that way.
Yeah, right.
Not at
And I
all.
think,
Not our
You know,
intent.
Yeah.
this meeting tomorrow, apparently, I mean, I'll be here, but hopefully anybody else on the board, is welcome to attend as well. It'll be all new to me. One of the things I would like to ask though, is if between now and then, if you can compile what we lost for the voting. How many programs were canceled, how many seniors were, that you normally get were affected,
Yeah.
maybe over 100.
That'd be helpful.
It may be
yeah,
over
for that
100.
day,
And the
I,
fact, well, it's not, it's the 2 days, right?
well, half the day,
Yeah.
half the day.
And,
Monday.
and somehow you were able to change the 3-day.
Yes,
to
'cause
2.
that was by pushing.
Yeah.
I pushed and
Congratulations, that
pushed
was
and
great.
pushed,
Yeah.
enough for that.
But I think it, just like with the rides, if there's a way to document what we
Okay.
had to give up to do this, so they don't think we're just,
Yeah,
mulling.
by rights, we're not supposed to give up anything.
Right.
But yes,
Mhm.
we did have yoga go virtual and only one person showed up. I'm not looking, why am I pointing at you? Where were you? Where were you?
You probably got an invite.
I did. Yeah, so this has been tough.
Yeah.
This is
No,
a
we're
very,
not blaming you. Deb.
oh, and
Never.
I
We're
just
never
want you to know, I'm
blame
trying
you.
to,
We're not throwing.
And when we
Yeah.
did meet with Chris Senior last fall, he said that he would fund the overtime for when they
Yes.
were setting up
Yes, he
all
did,
the
yeah.
other things.
And he didn't.
He must
course
have this time if they did it in a day and a half. He must have approved.
they
the
came in
overtime.
first thing in the morning on Wednesday morning and took it down.
Oh, okay.
The one thing that the Kinsling Cafe on the Monday, the Monday prior, I didn't think it was unreasonable for them to come in at, 11 and start
Sure.
setting. And that's really where I pushed to was told not to push anymore.
Mm.
But to me, I think
That's major.
yeah, so,
Okay, how many
but
people
you
are
know,
there?
Yeah.
we, and I know Megan's in a tough spot too. We've just, this
Well, the
is,
town clerk has certain parameters that she needs to follow that seem a little strict to me, but those are the state guidelines, so she's under, pressure because she's trying to do things as fast as she can, but she has to abide by the rules that she has to follow with the state, and also she has certain people, doing counting voting and whatever their rules are, so she's trying to be flexible, but she can only be so flexible, so everyone's trying, but I
Well,
think.
our issue is we aren't supposed to be on that alternative list.
Right.
Right, so I think let's
Find
pause
something else.
this and just
We gotta
see what
get
this
off of
meeting
it.
is
Yeah.
about tomorrow, because we don't really know what it's about. We don't know if it's a recap of, did it go well here? We don't know we don't really know what it's about. So instead of,
Well, we know what it's gonna be about.
instead of putting the cart before the horse, let's sit in on the meeting, see how it goes, and then the next board meeting, we can have a really great conversation about what needs to be done.
Well,
But I think we
unfortunately,
can't-
we let it go to the point where it happened. We were so far, we were stunned when we were notified. We weren't consulted. We were
We
notified.
were
Yeah,
not-
nobody
We
ever
were
says.
Notified and,
We're supposed to be consulted.
yeah, absolutely. But the idea of the other 3 votings were supposed to go to the schools, and now they're kicking back. I mean, we're on the alternative list still, according to Chris Senior. So, this is where they're coming.
I think,
June,
yeah, I
September.
think it's gonna be Glen Pratt.
Well, that's why I wanted to go with Glenn, because he can change that list.
I think it's Glenn,
Yeah.
and the emergency, this was not an emergency,
No.
and what's going forward tomorrow.
Well, what happened at the town hall? I know that they didn't pass the fire stuff. Are
They
employees
did,
still
they
working
did.
at the town hall?
They're all being moved to one side, the safe side of town hall. So fire door's been put up
All right, so we're not getting any refugees in here, right?
No,
Okay.
now. No.
but I will say honestly, I went down for the early voting.
Mhm.
They managed.
Well, because they can't have gathering in the, what is that? I want to call it assembly room, but that's not it. The theater, yes. So they can't have any, large amount of people in there. So they thought for early voting, they could get people in kind of trickle. But for a big voting event, they were worried that they were going to hit numbers. So I think, something that's productive that we can do is to maybe help think about where else voting can go.
Well,
St. Anthony's,
yes,
it's got
the
a
Congregational Church.
and it's got the best parking lot around.
Yes.
Church and state,
Which one's
right?
St.
Can't
St.
do that.
Anthony's.
There we go.
And they have a huge.
Well, the Pope down here.
Yeah, well,
Ooh.
Oh, I know, I don't think we can do
Ah,
that.
Church and state.
What?
Oh.
Church and state is
You
separated.
can do churches, they do churches all over the
They
place.
do, okay.
So
I was
And
just
it's not
moving
the
to the shop.
church itself, it's the.
Yeah, okay.
So
Oh.
let me bring it to Lisa Legg, the town clerk, and see if that's,
Yeah.
she can tour that space and see if it's an option. And if you got anything else?
Probably have to
That's a
rent
good
it.
idea.
Well, maybe, but.
Yeah, but, maybe
That's not
not,
what I do.
but, no, the point is, you say that these rules are by the state. This was approved by the state twice, and the town had its hand slapped. And doesn't seem to bother people. And Chris Senior was here. A lot of people at town hall were not here when all this brouhaha was
He was
going
here.
on in town. Well, he was in the beginning, but when it was opening, but he wasn't here for the planning and
No,
all that.
not
kind of
at all.
stuff.
But he was here when we sat down with him and showed him that article.
Of
and said,
course.
And he knew about the article. He didn't fight that
Oh,
at all.
yeah, no. he
So I'll
didn't.
take care of it. It's
Well,
a
let's
lovely
move on for
space.
now
We
and
can't-
see what happens
Yeah.
tomorrow,
So,
in the interest of time.
Well, I'm glad I was invited.
Yes. And I just want to add one, I sat
Is
at my.
Glenn come? Oh, it's Glenn's meeting.
Yeah,
That's
so,
even better.
we were still very busy. We were surprisingly busy. I had a couple of, I sometimes get walk-ins, outreach people who just don't know where, they just come in, they need help. But I sat at my office window and I tell you, the number of faces of older adults that I've never seen before come in to vote, and I'm thinking, why have these people coming in here? So it's really, they're
A
out
lot of
there.
positive side.
Yeah,
Yeah. When I walked in to
Yeah.
vote, I thought, wow, this looks great. If
Yeah.
you've never been in here before, this
Yeah,
is a good.
exactly. And we
Yeah.
had one of our volunteers, right, we're signing people in right when you come in.
Yeah.
And I said, if anybody says, what a nice building, because we couldn't put the hard sell on
Yeah,
folks coming in to vote.
Yeah.
Just point right there. So we had our newsletters and that scanned and all of our stuff. And by the end of the day, that was almost all empty.
Oh, well, I.
So on the bright side, hopefully we'll get some people who've never come in before,
Mhm.
whatever their
But if
version
you
is.
can do something to.
Yeah, I can get the
identify-
numbers for tomorrow. I'll
Yeah.
email you by the end of the day. I
Well,
can look at the weeks prior, the.
Yeah, I mean, we got history. so,
Yeah, so I can send that and, okay.
Yeah, and just how many programs were interrupted and the number of seniors that attend those programs.
Certainly.
Good.
Okay.
Well,
Did you want to? say
yes,
I
we had a
did.
question about the image.
Along the same lines, I try to talk with people in the community and people that I see and encourage them to come, and I continually get, I don't want to hang out with those old people. And I only say it to old people, and they don't get that.
Yeah.
We all think we're 25.
We all
Yeah.
think we're not old. But I noticed this past week coincidentally that Hingham and Situate have both changed the names of their centers to make it more like Hingham's is Center for Active Living.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And what is Situate?
I didn't write down
Yeah,
Situate,
okay.
I forgot, but it's similar to that. And then I had 2 people or 3 people, I think, say, what the heck? They looked at the cover of this.
That I would ask you not, because that was,
I know.
I know, so I did a column on ages, right? I don't know if anybody reads my column.
Yeah.
Oh, I-
Yes.
Yes.
we have to these are rock stars.
I
Yeah.
know they are.
Yes.
I know.
They're-
they are.
To the community too. And then if you opened up, I talked about ageism. So if you're gonna say there's something about this, you are falling into everything I wrote about. It was time.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, so I hopefully we were trying to, the big picture, this picture, I know, I knew someone would say that. I was hoping it wouldn't happen or somebody else, but, you know, we have multi-generations that come through here and, we want people to know, there's a lot of folks in this demographic sitting at home, excuse my language, rotting away.
Yep.
And we wanted to show, you know, we're not all about the, you know, yoga and all the,
Yeah.
we wanted to show stuff.
Dance
And I think we do, I think if you walk in here, I think we have people in their fifties come in, you know, the mid-50s, and we allow them to come in all the way up to
Carpetbaggers.
to the end of the 90s.
With the snappers.
As for the name, you're absolutely right, and I know why Hingham did it. She used to work in Plymouth, the director, and that's what they did in Plymouth. They changed it, Center for Active
Yeah, they
Living,
did.
but they found they had a problem. People thought it was a daycare program.
Even though
I don't
Yeah,
really
we
like
thought
it.
it was a
Well, I'm
daycare.
not
I don't
saying
think
it
so.
should be
Yeah,
that. I'm
No,
just
but
saying
I know, but,
the image in general,
yeah.
I don't know, I'm not complaining.
Oh, I know.
I'm trying to report what I hear
Get on board
and the
and complain.
impression.
I put a, so Patty Smith took this awesome picture and, I knew someone would say something about it. I'm not surprised. But then if you opened up and talked about
Yeah.
ages and hopefully it was 12 that, like, I guess. People did.
Because-
Pictures worth 1,000 words.
Yeah, it is, and those
Yeah, but then
people
other
who-
weeks, there's pictures of.
Of young
eating
people,
and
we,
people,
you
you
know,
I know that.
these, you know, yeah, I know, and
Yeah.
these people are so true, you know, yeah, you're right.
I think we're getting in the weeds, I don't think.
I know, but I think if, I think, you know, next week again, we could have some, as for our name, Cohasset Elder Affairs, I try to avoid the name word senior at all
Yeah.
costs. To me, that is,
Yeah, you should say older comments.
yeah, I say
Yeah.
older adults or
Yeah.
older adults, I never say seniors, but,
Say elder, right?
What is that?
Yeah,
Do you
think
have-
about
do
it.
you have a
Oh,
copy?
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
What's not
Do you have a
fine?
copy?
I know.
Do I have a copy?
At 11.
I
Okay.
know,
I'm okay,
I just.
yeah.
I'm gonna ask you.
It's for me.
Okay.
I don't know, but-
Okay.
Because
But I
that's.
got the
just-
one in
you want
4
to
years
take it
ago,
out that
so
way.
you're
Sounds like fun.
line.
Okay, yeah, good.
Any chance it could be?
Are we
before?
done?
I moved to adjourn.
I just need to keep that.
Oh, there's been a second.
We have a motion on the floor to adjourn, go ahead and.
Yeah.
I read it.
On the motion, on the
All right.
motion.
Yes, yes, yes.
Aye.